What up, reader fam? Today I'm bringing you a new book haul video in partnership with HMH Teen and Penguin Random House. I've got a total of 5 books to show you today, which I feel like is a pretty reasonable amount. I'm not gonna lie, lately I've been feeling like going to Barnes & Noble and just buying everything, but I'm trying to hold myself back. I'm trying to keep the flow of books that I'm adding to my collection at a reasonable amount so I don't lose my mind with stress over my physical TBR. You know what I mean? But every time I drive past Barnes & Noble, I feel the pull, I feel the temptation, and sometimes I just want to give in. But I've got to keep fighting the good fight, my dudes. First up here, I have the entirety of the His Fair Assassin trilogy, which this is technically another habit that I've been trying to kick. I really want to stop getting entire trilogies and series before I've read at least the first book, because I get entire trilogies or series or duologies, and what do? I read the first book and then the other two sit unread for years. I really wish that I was somebody who could just marathon series, just read them back to back to back, but that just ain't me. It's not a skill that I've acquired yet. But this is a well-loved trilogy, and it's also a trilogy that I've been really wanting to get into. And HMH Teen came out with new covers for this trilogy, and when I saw them, I was like, I gotta have them, so they hooked me up. I'll show you each book with their old cover so you can kind of get a comparison. This is Grave Mercy, Book 1, Dark Triumph, Book 2, and Book 3, Mortal Heart. And I believe there's going to be a spin-off duology with the character from Dark Triumph, Sibella. That book is going to be called Courting Darkness, and it comes out in February. The original covers for these are great, but I really like these new covers. I feel like these are more my style. These never go out of style when you try to make a Taylor Swift reference and fail miserably. Also, something that I love about this trilogy in these new editions is the fact that it has the book numbers on the spines. So it says Book 1, Book 2, Book 3. More series and trilogies and duologies need to do this. That way you don't pick up the third book thinking it's the first book and get halfway through and realize that it's the third book. Now, I believe this is actually a companion trilogy, meaning each book follows a different character, but they're all kind of in the same world, and I believe the characters interact with each other and whatnot. But I could be wrong. I'm not feeling super confident right now, but I'm pretty sure that's right. The first book, Grave Mercy, follows this girl named Ismay, and she ends up escaping an arranged marriage like a boss. She's like, nobody's gonna tell me who I'm gonna marry. She ends up at the convent of Saint Mortaine, where she will serve the gods of old. And here she gets a little nice gift from the god of death. Honestly, personally, I wouldn't want a gift from the god of death. I'd honestly just assume that it was the gift of death. Oh, I'm getting a gift from a death god. Should I just go start digging my grave? Is that what I should do? Yeah, probably. Sounds about right. So if she chooses to stay at the convent, she'll be trained to become an assassin and will serve as the handmaiden to death. But in order to claim her new life, she must destroy the lives of others. It's like, if you want this life, you gotta mess up the lives of other people. That doesn't sound like fun to me. In fact, that sounds pretty messy. But I love a messy story with conflict, so I'm excited about this. Now, I didn't want to read the description of the second and third book, just in case it isn't actually a companion story. I'm just a little bit nervous that if I read the descriptions of these books, I'd get spoiled, and I'm really not about that spoiler life. I've talked recently how I've wanted to read more historical fiction fantasy stories, and that's what these books are. So these books actually take place in 15th century Brittany, so I'm looking forward to having that setting as the backdrop for this trilogy. While I'm excited to read these books, I think I'm more excited about the fact that I'm partnering up with HMH Teen on a giveaway for these books. So if you want to win this trilogy, I will leave more information down below in the description. Check it out! The next book that I have to show you is Vengeful by VE Schwab. This is actually the sequel to Vicious by VE Schwab, which is one of my all-time favorite books. Yeah! That was cringy. I had Vengeful upside down. Anyway, this book randomly arrived on my doorstep the other day, and I picked up the package, didn't look at who it was from, just assumed it was from Amazon because, you know, your boy orders a lot of crap from Amazon, so I ripped it open and I plopped the book right out. Plopped is not the right word, you idiot. What did I do? I plunked the book. No. Oh, for Christ's sake. I just pulled the book out of the package and I was like, what the heck? I had to do a double take because I was not expecting to get this book yet. And I feel bad because there is no way that I can read this book before I reread Vicious, because while I know I do have a pretty good memory, I also know that I still need to hit the refresh button on everything that happens in this book, especially before I dive into this one. I feel like it's just going to be more impactful if I reread this book before I read this book. Like, I just recently reread the Miss Peregrine's trilogy, which I know I'm trash. I've read it like 1,500 times now, which is actually not true because it was the first time I reread Library of Souls, so come at me, even though you weren't even attacking me. Anyways, the point is, rereading that trilogy, I realized so many different things that I had missed or had forgotten about or didn't pick up on the first time that I read them. I was honestly surprised by how many things that I had forgotten throughout the trilogy, especially because I thought that I knew those books like the back of my hand, but apparently not. So while I'm excited to have this, this, I know that this book needs another reread before I can get to this one. Look how beautiful these books look together though. Like, I love this red and black aesthetic. I'm here for it. Also, the book designs are perfect. I'm trying to think of how I can describe this series in a new way because I feel like I've talked about this series so much on my channel and I just say the same description over and over and over again. So how can I describe these in a way that I haven't described them before? Vicious is the story of Victor and Eli who worked together on a project to uncover extraordinary abilities. And to do so, they experimented with near-death experiences. It worked and both now have these different abilities. Fast forward 10 years and these boys have turned their backs on each other. Eli is setting out to take out those with abilities, and Victor is out to take out Eli. Ooh, that was a good and fresh description. Hopefully that gives you an idea as to what you can expect with this duology, question mark. Is it a duology? Is it a trilogy? Is it a series? I have no idea, to be honest. Honestly, originally I thought that Vicious was just going to be a standalone, but here we have a sequel now. So that happened. Next up here we have The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kiersten White. This is Frankenstein's story told through the perspective of a side character named Elizabeth. Frankenstein is one of the few classics that I've read, and I really enjoyed the story of Frankenstein, so I can't wait to read this book and kind of get a fresh perspective on Frankenstein, told through brand new eyes. Even though this is probably going to be more of a retelling of Frankenstein, which I'm down for. Elizabeth is an orphan who is taken in by the Frankenstein family, and she becomes extremely close to the character Victor, and we follow her trying to track down Victor after he's gone missing, and the journey to her dark discovery of what happened. I've grown to really like Kiersten White's books, which is saying a lot because I really wasn't a big fan of her first duology, but then she came out with the Conqueror saga, and it just took over my life. Well, it didn't take over my life, that's really dramatic, but I loved it so much more than I was expecting to. This is one of those authors that I gave another chance, and I'm really thankful that I decided to give her another chance because I've been thoroughly impressed with her new books, and had I not given her a second chance, I would have been missing out. I'm specifically really excited about this book because of the fact that I feel like I trust Kiersten White with retellings now. Like, now that I've read her Conqueror saga, I want her to retell every story ever, because that trilogy was epic with a capital E. So I really can't wait to see what she does with this book. I think this is the perfect season to read a book like this. Fall weather just has me wanting to snuggle up in bed with a dark and gloomy read. So you better be dark and gloomy or I'll kick you out of my bed. Lastly, I have here a graphic novel that was sent to me by Simon & Schuster called Fake Blood. I'm so sick of this fake blood, fake blood, fake blood. BTS anyone? A? Army? A? When you just can't help yourself because you've become K-pop trash. This story follows this boy named AJ who just doesn't really feel like he's evolving in life. Like, he feels like all his friends are growing up and he's just like stuck. He's even had a hard time growing out of the crush that he has on this girl named Nia. Nia is only interested in vampires, so AJ wonders how she could ever like him. After he gets grouped with Nia on a group project about Transylvania, he decides that he's going to dress up as a vampire and win her over, only to find out that her fascination with vampires is because of the fact that she's a vampire slayer. Talk about a plot twist! This book sounds like it has the potential to be hilarious, and I really hope that it is. I hope it's not like one of those serious vampire stories and that the vampire slayer ends up falling in love with the vampire. Like, I don't want that. I really don't want that. Please just be comical, be funny, make me laugh. Make me laugh. I don't really want no Edward and Bella nonsense, so hopefully that's not what this book delivers. We'll see though. So those are some books that I've gotten my hands on recently. You guys should let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these books. If you haven't read any of these books, then let me know down below in the comments a book that you've picked up recently or a book you've read recently and loved. I want to know what that book is. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.